Next is the broadband availability reporting. Attorney Carter, would you want to speak to this and what is contained within this bill?
This bill is an effort to obtain better information so that the ENC authority can provide the legislature with some idea of the availability of broadband access within the state. It would require that any company offering broadband internet access, and that is defined within the existing statutes which regulate the ENC authority as 200 kilobits per second or higher. It would require the providers to supply annually a map, so that the map would be in graphic form. It would also be in data form, digital form, so that it could be used with the GIS application or overlay, so that it could generate a representative report of exactly what is available in what areas of the state. It would require not any proprietary information would be confidential under the law as it is written. There are specific requirements from telephone companies. You'll see them in a subsection B on page 2 about a listing of the homes passed and a listing of the access lines. It would also require the coordinates of certain telephone equipments. It also would provide for information concerning the location of any wireless towers and the service areas for those towers. This again is just to assist ENC in providing accurate, detailed information regarding access.
Thank you, Attorney Carter. One of the problems that we've run into in trying to get an answer to the question of where is broadband and where is broadband available and where is it not available is that the specific locations are not reported to ENC. We've had a couple of meetings where we've discussed this, where we've seen some of the information, and consistent with the recommendation, as I understand it, to be coming out of the white paper, and consistent with the need to know where a thing is and where it isn't if we're to advance it and to make sure it does show up in rural areas, this legislation has come forward. Are there any committee questions about this before we take public comment? Yes, ma'am. Representative Bryant.
She mentioned something about 200 Is that anywhere? Is that somewhere else?
That is an existing law which defines broadband internet access. The term is used here, but it's not defined in the bill. There's an existing definition, so that's why I mentioned it.
In the same chapter?
Yes.
Any other committee questions or comments? If not, we'll open it up for public comment.
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
What has been the input of the service providers on this? Is there support, objection?
We're getting ready to find out.
And the cost, what would it be, what cost would be involved to?
We're getting ready to find out if they want to discuss any of that. Anybody, any public comment on it? Yes, sir. If you'd identify yourself, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Stan Pace, and I'm with Verizon here in North Carolina. That's a good question, the cost of getting this information. Looking at the requirements of this bill, or this proposal, there's a lot of, I can see a lot of issues legally, our network people that handle the legal side of where our network is, about handing that type of information over. I understand there's provisions proposed in here to make sure that's kept proprietary. So that's one thing I would be dealing with our legal people over. The second is the amount of work that would be required to provide that information. The other thing I would say is we already provide, and I work well with Charlie, and Charlie knows this, a whole bunch of information to the ENC. I mean, this is a 16-column spreadsheet just for our network, and our network in North Carolina is relatively small. This was in my presentation last time. A listing of almost 400 switches, where they are, are they equipped? Do they have DSL plugged in, and are they actively for sale? So there's information that we are already forwarding to the ENC that we thought was adequate for, you know, what their mapping purposes and their mapping programs are about. You know, the industry input on something like this, we hope we could have some on this information. What I would say about additional information, if there's more information needed, then we're happy to sit down with Charlie and Jane, and we'll add to this spreadsheet. You know, what are you missing here that provides you more detail in your mapping effort? I would say that, you know, I do want to point this out about are we providing an adequate amount of investment in rural areas? And I want to talk rural. And this was a little bit about my graph in the presentation last time. And our rural areas would be these Western North Carolina properties. We've got a lot of DSL out there. We've got 53,000 unsold DSL ports in Western North Carolina. Now, you're right, there are some places that don't have it, and then we'll get information. Charlie or our network people say, these folks in this community want the service. Give me the number, give me the address, and we can run statistics on whether they're in the network or whether we are proposing something or something like that. So I would also say that as it relates to maps, you know, we got lots of maps. A lot of them are proprietary. You know, here's a map of where our wireless coverage is. You know, you can get that to Charlie. We can show them where you don't get it here, you get it here. So without delving into this too much, we hope we can, you know, have dialogue with the ENC over that type thing.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yes, sir. Any other comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Marcus Tratham, the law firm of Brooks Pierce, representing the North Carolina Cable Telecommunications Association. And I've made a presentation, I guess, at your last meeting on behalf of the association. Representative Bryan, in response to your question, we hadn't seen the bill until Friday. I was out of the office, Mr. Brackett's out of the office. So we had not any input into the bill itself, and have certainly very limited time to communicate with our clients about it. But I would echo some of the concerns that you heard from Mr. Pace. Just in briefly reviewing the bill, the cable companies don't typically keep information. I'm told in the form that this seems to be requested. And so I do have a concern that the burden of providing this information is not insubstantial. So that's something that we really need to look into further. Now, as I said in the last meeting, we stand ready to be a participant in this process and cooperate however we can. So we certainly look forward to having continuing dialogue, working with your committee, and working with Jane Smith-Patterson, the organization, getting the information that she needs. We do have concerns about confidentiality. We appreciate seeing the language in the bill dealing with confidentiality. We have some concerns about the wording of that. We think that if we're going to move towards a requirement of providing this data, first we want to make sure that it's including everybody, including the wireless providers. And second, we'd like to see that it be handled by a third party. A number of states that are looking at this have gone that route in order to deal effectively with the confidentiality concerns. So I mentioned to you that is a potential approach. We look forward to having further conversations with you about this.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the solution to the confidentiality of a third party having it with their public record or something?
Yes, ma'am. That's right. And I think the way a lot of states have dealt with it is a non-public third party, and then pursuant to confidentiality agreements between those parties. So there's a clear understanding of when information will be given to the public agency and for what purpose.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Trey. And thank you, Mr. Pace.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dwight Allen. I'm appearing today on behalf of the 9 telephone membership corporations in North Carolina, and we